that?
Yes.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. So good to hear everybody and see everybody again. I don't know about you guys, but I'm missing it a little bit. So I actually really enjoy these weekly meetings to kind of stay in touch with everybody. So with that being said, we'll get rid of the mushy stuff. And we have some pretty exciting stuff to share with you today. We did in May, we did a smart home presentation. And what I did during that presentation was I reviewed some of the smart home devices, specifically focusing on the Amazon devices. And
Okay, thank you.
before I even start this, I'm just going to let everybody know that I'm going to be saying those words like Alexa and yep, see, she's coming on already. So if you have a device, you may want to mute your device so that it doesn't get activated during this presentation.
Or if you put headphones
secondly,
in, she won't go off.
That's a good idea. Headphones.
I have headphones plugged in, so she can't go off. Just in case anyone.
In your device?
No. So right now I'm on Zoom with my phone, and I plugged headphones into my phone, so she can't hear.
Understood.
Oh,
she can't hear it if I say it.
Right. Correct.
Yes.
I'm going to recommend that everyone mutes because when you're showing video, if there's any background noise, it's going to interrupt your video. So that's just a quick recommendation.
Yeah, I would suggest too.
Is that okay with everybody? Is that...
Did you give her her name?
So does everybody remember?
No, I didn't do anything right.
If you're on a computer, remember? That's okay. If you want to mute yourself, it's Alt-A. If you're
I
on
have
a
no
computer.
idea how to do anything.
Okay. The Alt key, that's all right. Then just hush. How's that?
No worries.
No worries. We'll figure it out. Okay. So I'm going to try to use the words Lady A, okay, instead of the word Alexa, which mine keeps going off, of course. So just moving forward, just so that you know, whenever I want to use that word Alexa, I'm going to say Lady A instead. Okay, so let's talk about, today was a specific conversation with regards to the Amazon devices. So like I said, in May, I did a smart home presentation giving an overview of some of the technology that could help us in our home. Now, remember, when I'm looking at these devices, I'm not looking at them, for the general population. I'm looking at these devices to see how can they assist us. And when I say us, I mean the visually impaired community, blind community. Like, how can it help us to increase our quality of life and our independent living? So keeping that in mind, that's the umbrella, if you will, that I've looked at in looking at and reviewing all of these Amazon devices. So I'm really looking at how they can increase our quality of life and increase our independence. So that's really the focus here on these devices. They can do a ton of other things for a lot of like general population kinds of things, but I'm really focusing on what it can it do to help us, again, increase our independence and our quality of life. So that's the focus really here. And I'm going to show you, I found a lot of devices and a lot of really interesting stuff. The second thing is I have a really lot of information, and quite honestly, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it all through during this hour. So we'll do the best that we can. And the last thing I want to say, and more importantly, and I'll revisit it again at the end, is that both Mary Abby and I are here for you. So if there's anything in this presentation that you would like a review on, please feel free, call us, email us, text us, whatever way works for you, and let us know that you need some assistance. And again, we're going to have to do it on Zoom or on the phone, but we're here for you. And usually with these devices, they're pretty easy to troubleshoot over the phone and or via Zoom. Okay, so with that being said, I'm just going to keep moving on.
My phone.
Yeah, hi. Hello?
Supposed to answer my phone.
I'm answering your phone.
Oh,
God almighty.
to everybody.
Yes, of course, because you don't believe me that I would pick up the right phone.
No, I'm talking about talking to. There's people there.
Gloria, we can't hear you. I think you're muted.
There we go.
There
Yeah.
you go.
There. Is that better?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so just giving you a description of what you see on the screen. And I was using the red, there's a red Echo Plus. Next to that, you see a screen that's constantly changing. That is the Echo Show. And that's the 10-inch Echo Show. Yep. Echo, stop. These are the wonderful things that happen when you say the wake words. They come up with all kinds of stuff because they want to listen to you and help you. So I'm just going back to give you a description of some of the items that I have here to show you today. So I have the right of that. We have the Fire TV. And then I also have a 7-inch Kindle Fire tablet. Okay. So those are all Amazon Echo devices that can be used with the Amazon Alexa app. Okay. So remember that the Amazon line of devices, they can come with a screen or without a screen. For many of us, we don't need the screen at all. However, in some households, we have found that the screen is very helpful for those people that have usable vision and can be used really nicely with people that have no vision. It's a nice complement for that type of household. Always remember too that Amazon devices require a few things. So this is really important to note. In order to have an Amazon Alexa device in your home, you need to have a few things. Number one, you need to have an internet connection. Number two, or an Android device. It could be a smartphone or a tablet. So you need to have one of those. You need to have an Amazon account, okay, which is very, very simple to make. But oftentimes it requires that you have an email address as well. Okay, so those are, did I forget anything, Mary? Those are the typical things that you need to be able to connect an Amazon device.
You got it.
Okay, thank you. All right, so moving forward, let's talk a little bit about what is this Alexa thing, okay? So let's be clear. The Amazon, when we say Amazon and we talk about their devices, okay, that's the hardware, okay? That's the physical devices that we can touch and feel, all right?
Marco.
It's truly the
Join the meeting
app. It's truly the Alexa app that assists us with controlling all of this stuff. Excuse me 1 minute. Of course, my Alexa device is going off after I told everybody to shut it off. I didn't shut off mine. So truly these devices can be used in many different ways. So I just wanted to be able to share with you that the app is truly what controls all of these things. So sometimes you may go to your device and ask it a specific question, and it may say to you, oh, well, go to your Alexa app for help on that, okay? Just be mindful that it's really the Alexa app that is controlling everything. And it looks like, oh, okay, everything kind of changed on my screen. We have an internet problem. Okay. All right. I'm just having a couple of internet problems. My apologies.
You're
everybody.
okay. It's a screen share that I'm going to shut off.
So remember, it's the Alexa app. Okay. So that's why oftentimes we have to install the app on a device. That's why we need a smartphone or a tablet. I'll give you a couple of hints. Usually what I like to do is I often use
Oh, well.
Amazon Fire tablet to be able to connect my Amazon devices because it's relatively inexpensive. Okay, let's go back to the screen one more time. And the Echo Dot right now, there's a lot of competitive pricing right now, but the typical price is somewhere in the $39 to $49 range. The Echo Pluses are somewhere in the $59 to $119 range. The shows, the 10-inch shows, those are very expensive. I had a difficult time justifying that. They're $220. I've been trying to see if they go on sale, but not so much. For your information, the Echo 8, which is just a slightly smaller size screen, they're having a special on that, $65 for those that are interested. And the Amazon Fire Stick is typically in the $50 range. Okay, so all of these devices, and if you see the yellow tablet that I have at the very right-hand side of the screen, that was a tablet that was donated to us by a wonderful consumer, but that is the Kindle Fire 7, and it's $50. So if you think about it, you can get a lot of this independence with less than $100, okay? So if you already have your internet or access to internet, okay? Many people in some of the high rises, they'll share internet connections and help each other pay for them. Just giving you a tip. That's what some people do to help keep the expenses down. But as long as you have the internet connection and a tablet and one of these Echo Dots, like I said, less than $100, and then you're on your way. Okay. So we talked about how these things can truly help us do what we need to do. So many of the difficulties that we find with our population is to just make phone calls. Okay. So being able to make a telephone call, operating a telephone, finding the keys, using a smartphone, it's very difficult and cumbersome for some people that have lost their vision later. So using one of these devices is really nice. So you can simply ask your device to make a call. Now there's a lot of questions about this. I'm going to give you some answers. The first thing about making phone calls is you have to have access to a cell phone. So you have to have a cell phone number, okay? It doesn't take any minutes from your number, okay? It does not use any minutes. All it needs to do is have access to a telephone number so it can provide a caller ID to the person that you're calling, okay? So there's many cheap and inexpensive ways about going around the cell phone as well, and we can talk about that at another time if you have that issue. So just be mindful that you need to have a cell phone. The next thing is there's a lot of questions about when you make phone calls. When I make a phone call from my device, my Amazon device, it can call somebody's cell phone, or I can call somebody else's Alexa device. Okay, but remember, you're not talking on a headset. You're talking through a speakerphone. Okay, so in many places where people are sharing housing, those kinds of things, it could be disruptive to the people in your home. So just be mindful of that. There are two solutions to that, and the two solutions is on the I haven't seen the new generations of the Amazon devices yet, but on the old generations, they have the 3.5-inch millimeter jack in the back, which means you could actually plug in a microphone headset, but better still, Amazon has Bluetooth capabilities. So you get yourself a nice Bluetooth headset that you could then wear, or earbuds, as I'm showing you here, and connect that via Bluetooth to your device so that you could talk to her in that way. Okay, so there's some options for the telephone calls. Okay, so I just want to open this up just for a quick second, and let's have some questions about the phone calls.
Hi, Gloria. It's Molly. I have a quick question. So I believe I know some older folks who have wanted to use their Echo device to make phone calls. And I believe they have successfully just put, if they have a son or daughter who has a cell phone, they've installed the app on that phone and they can use that cell phone number and they're still able to make calls even if their son or daughter and their cell phone are not, in the house at all times. Is that right? Am I understanding that right?
You are correct. However, What's important to note here is that whoever cell phone you're using, the Amazon Echo is accessing the contacts from that phone. So in other words, you know, let's say it's the son's phone. If the son doesn't have my friend Ginny's phone number on it, then I can't call her using my Alexa device until my son puts Ginny's phone number in his contacts.
Absolutely. Okay.
Does that help make
Thank
things
you.
clear?
Definitely. Thank you.
Awesome. But yes, it's a great workaround. Yep, it's a great workaround, and we've actually done that with a few people. It depends on how many people they want to call, what their community is like, you know. But yeah, it's a really good option. All right. Anybody have any question? Any other questions? Nope. Okay. I figured there'd be a lot of questions about phone calls. The recent information I provided you with, you know, using a Bluetooth headset was something recent. Somebody recently called me, and we found out that they had shared living. So that's when I looked up the Bluetooth headset and how to be able to access that. Okay.
Gloria,
So that's one level of
Molly.
independence. Yes, please.
I do have
Go ahead,
one
Mom.
other question. I just wanted to leave time if other people had questions, but since it seems like nobody does, somebody told me recently that there is some kind of device that you can get for a landline phone, and you plug it into that landline phone, and it is able to allow your landline or allow Alexa to make calls using your landline number or something like that. So that would be an additional workaround to the cell phone. Now, I just heard about that, so I have not had a chance to look it up. I was just wondering if you knew anything about that.
Yep, I do. I've had some experience with that. So that product has been discontinued by Amazon. They did have the product available. I believe it was called something like the Alexa Output or the Alexa Input, something like that. I do have the device, and I've had some experience with it. Unfortunately, the experiences weren't so pleasant. And I feel that that's probably why they discontinued the device. They do have one for the car, but it connects directly to your phone, and it's not really going to help our population. But I really thank you for bringing that up, because I'm sure that would be a question for many. And like I said, they've discontinued that device, and I think it's because some of the many problems that they have with it.
Okay, thank you so much.
This is Joanne. Does it have to be a smartphone, cell phone?
No, it does not.
Okay.
Nope, it can be just a flip phone. Nope. As long as it can accept the text message.
Okay.
Now
I can only find my
Gloria,
phone.
I had a question.
That's the pain of my existence. Yes, please, Miranda.
Oh yeah. I was just wondering, is it any type of Bluetooth headphones you can use with Lady A, or is it a specific?
I just tried some inexpensive Bluetooth headphones. I tried these, the Apple ones, and then I tried some inexpensive ones, and I found those to work as well. So I didn't have to buy.
Did the Apple ones work?
High priced. I'm very frugal.
Yeah. Did the?
Oh, of course, the Apple ones work.
Yeah. Did the Apple ones work? Yeah. Okay. Great. Cool. I'll have to try that. Cool. Thanks.
Yep. I will tell you this. On the first generation, for anybody who has any of the first generation Amazons, I noticed some issues with their Bluetooth connectivity. The newer ones, the Bluetooth connectivity stuck. One last thing to note is that the Bluetooth connectivity seems to work better on the Echo Plus devices than it does on the Echo Dots. So the Echo Dot, which if you're looking at the screen is the one that's all the way on the left-hand side, more like a hockey puck style. That one doesn't have a very powerful speaker. So if you're hard of hearing, I wouldn't advise that device, even though it's nice and cheap, because you're not going to be able to get the volume and the clarity that you really need out of it. I would strongly suggest that you go with an Echo Plus. It's got a higher amplification, and you can actually adjust the tones to your hearing. And in addition to that, here's a cool one for you. If you have a Bluetooth hearing aid, you can pipe your Alexa directly in through your hearing aid. That's a cool one. I did that recently with a friend of mine. All right, so did you get that last one about the Bluetooth connecting to your hearing aid? Yep, good. All right. All right, any more questions about phone calls? I loved them all. They were perfect. They were just what I was hoping for. All right, so I'm going to move forward. So the next skill that many of us really want, I shouldn't say want, it turns out we really need them, is, and it's one of my favorite of all time, is managing your calendar, which is my absolute favorite thing to be able to do. If you're looking on the screen, that red Amazon device that you see, that's the one that's in my room. And that's the one that I'm talking to all the time. I'm working out, I'm telling it to play music. I think of this great idea. I tell it to remind me of this. Remember that I put the Christmas presents and I hid them. I can tell it that stuff. I've told it, I think of calendar stuff. Remember to call Barbara when I get to the office. So those are all the things that you can do. So I'm just going to give you a quick example. Alexa. Yep. She's having a problem. Let's try Echo. Echo. Do I have any events on my calendar today? There you go. See? This is Gloria.
No, Gloria, we can't hear Alexa.
Gloria. Hold on. Election day is an all-day event and not last until 4 p.m. Any better?
Keep going.
Did you guys hear that?
No.
Was that better?
No.
No, I'm sorry. So what Alexa did was okay, thank you. So what Alexa did was when I told her about the calendar is we have that device is connected to our work calendar. So we have different people that are here that use the Echo calendar. So it was asking me who I was so they could make sure that it gave me the right calendar information. So that's, you guys won't, you guys might not come across that, but this is a good way to show you family shared living with your Amazon devices, is you can put 2 different calendars on them under 2 people's names and be able to ask her what's on your calendar. Hey, this is John, what's on my calendar for today? Okay, so this is a really awesome thing. You can tell it to schedule events, remind you of things, but this is really an important independence tool. Many of us are still struggling, including myself, with the wonderful state services for the blind, a large print calendar, and our markers. And oh God, what did, you wrote the doctor's appointment on it 6 months ago, and then you're trying to read it now. Good Lord, I can't make out what that says. And we're done. These are important appointments that we need to keep. So what I encourage a lot of people to do is, if you still have the need, to write the appointments down, then go for it, but also put them on your Amazon device. That way they're in 2 places and you can rest assured that you won't miss any medical appointments or waste anybody's time. So managing the calendar is really, really crucial. There's lots of different commands and ways that you can do this. For those of you that are interested, all you have to do is go to, if you're on a computer or on your phone, is just go to Google and ask, what are the Alexa commands? And she'll give you a list of them and she'll break them all down. Okay? So the calendar is really, really crucial. You can ask it what's on my calendar. Of course, we're doing technology, so nothing wants to work, right? But I'm going to take a minute in a second and see if I can get them to act right. So here's the cool thing is, I showed you all those devices out there. Remember, the Alexa is an app, right? Alexa is also a personal assistant. What if we put the app on our smart device, like our iPhone or our Android phone? Then those phones with the app on it become another personal assistant. So people say, well, how would I use that for? Well, you can't. You can tell Siri on your iPhone app to play your music or to control any of your devices. Let's say you're not home. and you forgot to shut a light off and you have a smart plug to it, you can use your phone, tell Siri to open the Alexa app. And then once the Alexa app is open, you simply say, Alexa, turn off the lights in the living room. And she'll turn off the lights in the living room. You can also say, Alexa, schedule an event. You can also say, now remember, I'm using the word Alexa. You can change, that's called a wake word to get her to listen to you. You can change that word, okay? It could be Echo, Amazon, Alexa, or computer, okay? So I tried to name mine a couple of different ones so that when I name them, they're not all listening to me at the same time. Okay, so this is something really cool that we just learned about. So we can put, once that app is on your phone, then you have another assistant. So on an Apple device, you could have a Siri assistant and an Alexa assistant, right? On the Android phone, you could have your Google Assistant and your Alexa assistant. So you see how the world is really opening up for us? So that's why we're so excited and showing you these things, because there's so many things out there that we can do. All right, so managing calendar. I just want to pause a minute. I gave you guys a ton of information. Anybody get any questions? Come on, you guys knew all this stuff already?
Gloria, what was the place you said to check for commands?
So what you can do is you can just simply type in any search box, whether it be on your computer or your iOS device, whatever, any kind of smart device, just type in Alexa commands, and you'll see lists of them everywhere.
You can also ask Alexa what she can do for you, and she'll tell you.
Yes. Yep. You can also teach Alexa who you are. Like just recently, we had this happen in our house where the Alexa didn't know who was speaking. So we just tell Alexa, this is Gloria speaking. Do you know my voice? And she'll say, not that well. Would you like to train it? And so you do. You help her understand, and she'll just ask you to say a series of things. And then you train your voice so that she gets to know who's who in the house.
Yeah, she did that
I
to
know
me.
there's been many people. Go ahead.
A few months ago, she said, would you like me to recognize your voice? And I said,
there you
sure.
go. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. It's a wonderful thing. In my house, usually on a Sunday morning, we're having coffee. And what we usually do is we look up, what are the new Alexa commands? And we play with them to figure out if there's any of them that are like, woohoo, worth noting or not. I was almost thinking about maybe putting, some kind of Alexa information on our Insight Technology group on Facebook, just periodically. Hey, did you know Alexa could do this? So if you guys think that might be useful for you, let us know. And we'd love to be able to start doing that for you. Mary Abby, make a note that I said that because I'll forget. Thank you. So are people good at understanding the calendar? I kind of figured people would be asking, well, why do you want to use the Amazon or Alexa calendar feature versus your Siri? Many, myself and many others, have found it very less cumbersome to use the Amazon device to enter calendar information than using Siri or even the Google product on our devices. So
this is Molly. Gloria, I would definitely agree with that.
just,
I always
yes,
find that Alexa is much more obliging than Siri. Sometimes Siri gets a little bit argumentative and she doesn't want to, add certain things or change things exactly the way you want. I feel like Alexa is a little bit more forgiving.
Gloria, when you were talking about reminders, but it was related to the calendar, can it do reminders as not part of the calendar? Just remind me to call
Yes, it can.
Jim later today or something like that.
Yes, it can. So it actually, I have a tendency of putting some reminders in my calendar if they're work related. I know I shouldn't. I should keep everything separate. But yes, you are correct. There is a reminder section that is separate from the calendar, and it will not show up on your calendar. And that's the confusing thing. Let's just be clear. If you have an event on your calendar, okay, Amazon's not going to announce it. If you have a reminder, she will announce it. There's the difference.
How do
So
you,
if you say, go ahead, ask the question.
okay, I was going to say, how can you add your reminder to the calendar? Because I just do them separate. I do the calendar and then I do the reminders separately. But if I remember, I say what's on my calendar today. But sometimes I forget to, and so if there's something on my calendar and I forget to ask her, she's not reminding me about it. So how do I set a reminder into the calendar?
So you can do it. So you do it. And this is what I do for really important things is I'll put it in both places. So number one, the first thing you would say is you would call her name and say, create an event. And she would say, okay, what date and time? And whatever date and time you want that reminder to happen, you tell it. And then you say, okay, and then it'll say, what's the event? And you say, remember, I put the Christmas presents under the bed. And she'll say, okay, I scheduled the event. Remember to put the Christmas presents under the bed, December 20th at 9 a.m. Now, at December 20th, 9 a.m., that's an event in your calendar. If you don't ask it, it's not going to remind you. Because remember, I started everything by saying create an event.
Okay.
So now I want to put it in my reminders too. So I just say to it, I would say, call her name and say, remind me that I put the Christmas presents under the bed. And she'll say, oh, okay, I'll remember that you put the Christmas presents under the bed. When would you like me to remind you? And then you just tell it.
Okay, so
December 12th at 9 a.m. And at 9 a.m. on December 12th, she's going to holler out to you and say, hey, Joanne, you put the Christmas presents under the bed.
Gloria, this is Molly. I have one more question.
So if you forget, yes.
I was just wondering,
Yeah.
what do people have to have a special type of account in order to use the calendar on Alexa? Do they have to have like a Google Calendar setup or a iCloud calendar setup?
Awesome question. So what I found is that if you have a Google account, it works seamlessly. The other reason why I like the Google account is because often we have a support person in our lives, or some people do. And if you give them access to you, assist you either calendar. For myself, for example, I have a driver. So I want that driver to see my calendar, you see? So that they can know like when I'm going places, they can figure out where they're going, how much time they need to pick me up, that kind of stuff. So that's why I like the Google account. But recently, it was late in August, okay? And the unfortunate thing is Amazon doesn't tell us when they're doing major updates, but there was a major overhaul of the Alexa app and everything that it can do. And with that overhaul, they added the ability to, you can now access Microsoft Exchange accounts, and you can also access Apple iCloud accounts. Now, we have tried the Exchange accounts here because now, as long as we state our names, okay? So that's really nice to be able to do like in a workplace environment like we're doing here. For me at home, it's really nice because I have a home calendar and a work calendar. And there are things that I like to keep on the home calendar, which is under my Gmail account, and my work calendar, which is under my Microsoft account. Was that too much information?
Is there any way
No,
to have
that was perfect amount of information.
Is there any way for her to remember something that she's already? Because like sometimes I tell you, what was that reminder of earlier today? And she says, I don't know. It's like, because I'm not there at 8 o'clock when I told her to remind me at 8 o'clock. I'm going, wasn't this something you were supposed to remind me of? And she says, no, I can't access that. I'm like, is there any way to get her to access old reminders?
I think you can say, tell me my past reminders. But a funny feeling that might not work. Here's a workaround that I use sometimes, is I use the phrase remember. So like we've said, and I'm sure I've shared this with you before, is, I can't remember where I put just about anything, unfortunately. So I just put away a bunch of stuff in my shed, and I'm saying, oh my God, I'm not going to remember that. So I just holler out to Alexa, remember, I put whatever it was in the rafters in the shed. And then
also,
when I go back to my device,
sorry, Gloria.
go ahead. Another one?
So you can also try to say, what are my reminders for today? Because that will kind of blanket statement. It's like a blanket statement for the whole day. So she might tell you, 8 o'clock this morning, you had blah, blah, blah. And you can try it. I don't know if it'll work, but.
No, she won't. She won't remember the ones that have already passed.
Oh, that's not helpful. All right. We'll
No,
keep
it's
an
not.
eye out for some commands for you.
You know what, we're gonna, I'm gonna check some more into that and get back to you with that. Okay, Joanne?
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that's, I think that's helpful for everybody. So I think that's great. Thank you for that.
So this is Miranda.
All right.
And I know,
Yeah.
at least with, in my experience, it's that she doesn't remember earlier reminders because she's deleting your early reminders. So maybe a workaround might be like, if you, like Gloria had suggested, putting it in 2 different places. Also, you could set multiple reminders. So if you, set one at 8 a.m. on a Tuesday, and then Thursday you're like, oh, I'm not going to be there at 8 a.m., but I need to remember, you can just create another reminder. Like, okay, remind me at 1 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And she, and then she could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Or just I'll open a different list, because I just opened a different list this morning because I had to call ride lost and found it. So I just created a new ride list. So maybe that's another workaround that way.
Oh, that's a good idea. And actually, Joanne, that was a great segue, because the other thing I wanted to talk about was lists. Okay, so when the Amazon devices first came out, one of their big features was to be able to create shopping lists. So this is where the smartphone or the tablet comes into play. So if we were creating a shopping list, the shopping list is great. She can read it back to us. And remember, we have the Alexa app on our phone right now, right? So remember, we can put it on our phone. So if we go to the store, we can wear headphones and just say to our phone, tell me the shopping list. Now, Mary Abby, unless you found a workaround for this, I haven't. She just spiels out that shopping list for you, which is great. At least you have access to it, but I would prefer it a little slower, or be able to control it somehow, and you can't. But for somebody that's visual, you can always say to them, hey, can you go do my shopping? Here's my Kindle Fire. This is where my shopping list lives. Have a great time. Thank you very much. So that's another option that we could do to, assist us with a support person. We can also send that shopping list to somebody. So if somebody's doing your shopping for you, you can send it to somebody, or share it, excuse me. You can also create to-do lists for different things. I found several ways to use this list, if you will. I'll give lives all by themselves, totally blind, very elderly, and has support people come in. So he has a list for each support person. And, we're all getting a little older, and myself personally, I have that CRS disease, can't remember stuff. And so because of that, I always want to create lists. So sometimes in the middle of the night, I'll be thinking of something. Oh, geez, I can remember to tell Mary Abby something, And so I have a list, and it's Mary Abby's list. So I just say, hey, remember, add to Mary Abby's list that I want to talk to her about dot, dot, dot. And then the next day I just say, oh, what's on Mary Abby's list? And it'll give me all the information. So that's just another idea. Now, not only you can use them for shopping and to-dos, okay, but you can also use them, you can use it for that. Now, in these uncertain times, the other way you can use it is for contact tracing. So many people will use it for that. They just create a list called contact tracing. Okay, I created that list. Who do you want to add? Well, Gloria came today. And this is Gloria and her telephone number. I have a contact tracing list. So again, see how this is opening up the doors to independence as well as our quality. So there, I can go on and on and on about lists because as we all know, we can either create to-do lists, shopping lists, book lists. I created a reading list because I come in contact with many people and they say, oh, did you read that book? And of course I want to read everything. So I just tell my device, hey, put on my reading list, you know, that I want to read, you know, Elton John's autobiography. And it'll add it to my list.
Gloria, to have multiple lists like that, is it as simple as labeling it my list or reading list? And that's okay.
You need to create the list with a specific title. So it would have to say, you know, my reading list, or it doesn't have to even say my. It could just be reading list because you know it's yours.
But you can do it by
the title
voice.
of the list needs to be specific.
Wow, that's
yes, by voice.
Yeah, because I have one separate for shopping list, one shopping list for the Dollar Tree. I see I have to open my add to my Dollar Tree shopping list or add to my shopping list.
Wow.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome idea. So, now the next thing is, and this is where Alexa needs a little bit of work, is emails. And Mary Abby, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I would love for you to be able to share any information that you may have with regards to your experiences for emails, because she says that she can do emails.
She can do email to a certain extent. So she can, and Barbara can help me out if Barbara remembers, but it does, it allows you to reply to emails and read emails and archive and delete emails. But it does not allow you to create emails. It does a really bad job at reading forwarded emails. And you can't follow any external links. And you also cannot, there was something else that you can't do. But you can't, oh yes, you can't read emails that you've already read. That you can only read unread emails. So once you've read something, you can't read it again. It's kind of frustrating, but it does.
Mary Abby?
Yep.
I've been playing with this just the last 2 days because I just got mine. And if you label it next, then what you just said is correct. So when you hear an email, it'll ask you, what do you want to do with it? And if you say next email, then you can't read it again.
Correct.
But if you say unread,
yes,
it will come back to that one. What I haven't figured out yet, though, is it still only that one day? Because you can't go backwards in time to what came in yesterday.
Right.
You can only read what came in today.
Correct. You can't say, oh, read me the email from Bob 2 days ago, or what are my emails from yesterday? You have to really only focus on today or the most unread email. So that's a very good point, Barbara. You can mark things as unread if you've read them already, and it will kind of pretend it's not been read yet. But there are still some things for it to work on. So thanks for
Will it carry that unread one forward another day, or is it still just you can access it later in the same day?
I don't know. We'll have to experiment. I think it might carry it forward, but again, it's kind of unpredictable at this point, and we'll have to see. We'll have to try it and see. So.
Well, that's easy enough to figure out by playing with it, but
yes. For sure.
It's terrific, though, because I get about 30 a day.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, well, a lot of promotion and a lot of charitable stuff. Yeah. But I can go through them, and 90% of them, you can flag them so that if it's something to act on, whoever else might help you with that. In my case, it's my husband. can go back to the ones I flagged, or I can say unread to listen to it more thoroughly later in the day. Or if you say next, it just keeps it so he can go back to it a week later.
That's awesome. So it's
But
been a
it's
helpful
almost
for
like
you.
scanning first draft almost as to what you want to do with it. What I haven't figured out yet is what does archives mean?
It moves it to a different folder. It's called the archive folder.
Well, how do you get it back?
And I think that's Gmail related.
That's a
isn't it?
Gmail thing. Yep. So that's on your whatever device is connected to that email account. You can go into the archive folder and look at all the emails you've put in there.
It just
Is
saves
that
them
on
for
the
you.
computer, or can I do that through the Alexa?
You can do that. Not the Alexa. You have to do it through a
no.
phone or a computer or a tablet.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
And the
okay.
archive folder will just save the messages for you, so you can go back and read them.
Correct.
So that's really not much different than if you just say next.
Yes. It's actually you would
Well,
add.
I don't think they're going to access that information from the same folder because once it's been archived, it's in a different folder. So
Right.
it would
Well,
be,
archiving it moves it to a separate folder, so it's almost like extra work to go find it again.
Okay.
So, thanks,
that makes
Barbara.
sense.
Oh, it's fabulous.
Good. I'm really glad to hear it.
So the next big learning curve here will be texting and responding.
Yes.
Oh.
That will be fun.
Yeah.
This is
Well, that's good.
Molly.
Thank you for
Cool.
yeah. Thank
Sorry.
you for that seg. Go ahead, Mom.
I was just going to say that at least this was about a year ago, but I did help somebody to set up a separate, like, third party client for doing emails on the Alexa. And I believe it was one called Mailbot, Mailbot. And at the time it worked quite well. Obviously, as we all know, with technology, you never know what's going to happen because it changes all the time. But at the time it worked quite well. Of course, you should always be conscious it is a third party piece of software. So you are giving, access to your email account to some other, company. But it has good reviews. People have been happy with it. And that one was able to do many of the same things that Mary Abby just described that the Alexa mail client can do, but it was able to go back kind of indefinitely. Like you could just say, read the previous email, read the previous email, read the previous email. It didn't have to just be emails from today. So again, I don't know how well that one is working currently, but at least when I tried it, it worked quite well. And that's Mailbot, Mailbot.
Molly, I'll look into it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anything else? No other questions? Awesome. All right. So
This
Barbara,
is
thanks for
Angie.
those. Yeah, Angie.
How do Molly? How do you set that mail bot up on the Miss A?
So what we did was we opened up the app on this person's tablet and we went to skills and we searched, I think I just searched email, and that happened to be the one with the most stars.
Oh,
and
okay.
So we went to enable. And then it's one of those skills, of course, that says account linking required.
Yeah, I know how to
So-
do that.
Yep, exactly. So then you would just link your mail account. I don't remember specifically what the process is. I don't remember if it, made you verify by email or anything like that.
Yeah,
but
they usually do.
Yes, exactly. But so yes, you definitely need to do it via the app. It's not one of those skills that can be set up strictly by voice.
Okay, I have the app on my phone. I love that damn thing. All right, thank you.
No worries.
Awesome. And I got two great segues here. So one is text messaging and the other one is skills. And I think we're coming close to time, so I wanted to touch on those a little bit. So first, let's talk about texting. texting is very interesting on Amazon, and believe it or not, it gets a little fluky with Android devices because the text has to be sent in a certain way. So typically text messages, if you ask it to send a text message, it's sent in in the recording of your voice. That's the way it was always typically done. And if you're using an iOS device, that is how it's done. I will tell you that I recently got an Android phone, and I've been playing with getting it to do text messages. Haven't quite worked it out. Anybody else, any experiences with text messaging with the Amazon device? So I'm still working quite a bit of that through, and I'd love to be able to share that with you, maybe at a discovery session, hoping to get some of that, get some more of those answers. On the Android phones, you have to do something funky. You have to go into its settings, and you have to tell it to be able to accept what they call SMS text messages. And then you can send and receive text messages through an Android. Did anybody have anything to add? Miranda, have you had any experiences with sending text messages with your Amazon?
So I've only used it a little bit, but I've done it. I think I did it through voice. Sorry, and I think I've done it through audio messages as well. Yes.
Okay.
So I've done, but I've done it from the device, from the Echo, and I've done it
Gotcha.
through the talking. Yeah.
Got it. So like I said, the only difficulties I've run into is setting up the text messages on an Android device because of the way that Amazon wants to send the message. Never any difficulties on an iPhone device. But I'm still working on that, and I want to be able to discuss that more at the next AT Discovery session. So for those of you interested, I'm going to be sharing a little more about that text messaging. The next and probably the close to last thing I want to tell you guys about, and this is really huge, is Amazon Alexa has something I just want to call, just to make it clear, is it's basically an app. Okay, so the Alexa is an app itself, but it has like a lot of little apps that you can actually attach to it to be able to accomplish the things that you want. And those little things are called skills. Okay, so oftentimes if you tell it to add a skill, okay, what it can do is it can help you do different things. I'll just give you an easy one. Let's say you wanted to play Jeopardy with the kids, okay? Well, that's a skill. So if you tell your Alexa device, Echo, enable the Jeopardy skill. So now it's playing Jeopardy. Echo, stop. So I'm getting the whole fanfare. This is Jeopardy, you know, all of that. There are some, so that's just one example of a skill. So Barbara, these are for you. You ready, Barbara? Alexa, check my emails. Open Email Pro. Ask Email Bro to help me with email. These are all skills that open email world. These are skills to help you access your email.
So open email. And so what was the third word?
World.
Really? Okay.
WORLD. Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm. I think that's more of like a game and a trivia thing. But for production, like you want to get stuff done, try Open Email Pro. Try some of them. They may help, they may not. But these are supposedly skills that are that would help you be able to access your emails. Okay. I'll give you one other skill. Remember, we have the Insight Radio skill, so that you can listen to Insight Radio on your Amazon devices, right?
How do you say that one?
Y'all remember that one? That one's a tough one. I believe it's enable Insight Radio live streaming.
Oh, great.
So all these skills Yeah, the phrases are a bit much, I will have to say. I will have to say that's my biggest complaint with the Amazon device is that it's so phrase dependent. And for a lot of us with that CRS disease, it's hard to remember the phrase and how it goes. So just trying to remember as much of the phrase as we can
Yeah.
is usually.
But sometimes she'll ask you anyway, because sometimes when I remember to ask her for Insight Radio, first she'll say, "Are you legally blind?" And I'll say yes.
right.
And what would you like me to open? And then she'll give you some choices, and you just tell her which choice you want.
Oh, so you don't have to get the thing that you want at the time it's being read?
Well, I think it is during the time it's being read, though, because I haven't used that one in a while. But she'll ask you and walk you through it.
Okay, what if you don't know? The
So
thing
I
I
think
would
what-
want is my local newspaper, but I don't know when the heck that's being read.
Right.
Will it tell you that?
Right. So you just no, you just either have to call Lucille and ask Lucille when that's being read so that you can mark it on your calendar.
Okay. Poor Lucille.
I just don't know. Yeah, I know. I just don't know if the radio actually has a listing of the times. That's just my ignorance. My apologies.
Okay. That's great, though. Thank you.
All right.
How do I get her to
Yeah.
disable a skill?
The other one too. That you just exactly just that. You just as long as you
Okay.
know what it is, you tell it. Okay. Okay. All right. So now here are the phrases for the Insight Radio. Is you call your device by name. I'm not going to say the word. Ask Insight Radio to play the live stream. And then the next phrase is ask Insight Radio what's playing. And there's one of your answers there, Barbara. So when you ask it what's playing, she'll tell you what's playing at that time.
And just keep in mind, you do have to say ask Insight Radio. We're not telling you to ask Insight Radio. You actually have to say ask Insight Radio, blah, blah, blah. It's part of the sequence.
Yep.
Okay.
And I'll give you
Okay.
my other personal favorite is ask the National Federation to read the New York Times. This is the NFB Newsline skill. So you would tell your device, enable NFB Newsline, and it'll do that for you. And then you can ask the National Federation to read the next section, to read the New York Times, to read it faster. So that's just an idea of like skills. Skills is like what I consider a library of what Alexa knows. So she knows so many things, but she doesn't want to fill your device. So what she'll do is she'll just leave them for when you need them. Okay. And then when you need them, you ask her to enable them. There's word games. One of my
Trivia.
other favorites is yes, the trivia games.
I
Those
play
are fun to
trivia
play,
every
you
morning.
know.
I play daily
Awesome,
trivia,
awesome.
question of the day, and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And then at night it's Jeopardy.
Awesome. So you can do recipes. You can ask it for things for inspiration. You can get news. You can ask it to play news from NPR, Bloomberg, CNN, all that good stuff. You can ask her for, and I know I didn't talk a lot about this, but for coronavirus information. You can ask it, what's the latest? What's the latest with the coronavirus? And she'll give you the information. Help me wash my hands. She'll even give you some tips on that. So I do want to end this by showing you guys this wicked cool thing that we found. So we just bumped into this. So I just kind of want to give you guys a preview. So because this device is so wonderful, many individuals have been asking, they really like to have one, but they've had a lot of other issues, such as not having a cell phone, not wanting a cell phone. Why can't this just work on my landline, Miss Molly? So here's what we found. This is a cordless Motorola AX regular landline phone that has Alexa built in.
Oh, wow.
I don't hear any fanfare. That's the one thing that I hate about the Zoom. Because I like to hear everybody, wow. So here's the box. So like I said, this is it was on my desk when I came in this morning. So we haven't gotten to try it out. But what this phone, so just on a first preliminary reading and looking, is this little phone comes with this little, it's a little black box that connects to your router. So again, always needing access to internet with our Lady A devices, okay? Always needing a tablet or smartphone to connect them. However, this just uses a straight landline. And the cordless phone isn't horrible. Mary Abby and I have taken a look at it, and the buttons on the front are a bit tactile. So there's a dot on the 5. And then the buttons that are on the top that actually control Alexa are shiny and smooth. And the other buttons are a little more like rubbery and have a little more resistance to them. So Mary Abby and I were going to be playing with this phone. It wasn't very expensive. I think it was $50. But a nice solution to those individuals that either don't want to manage another device, they don't want to have something else in their home, they just want to have one thing that they can have access to and then be able to have access to Alexa too. So during the Discovery Center, this is going to be our discovery sessions that we have usually once a month. This is going to be something else that we're going to be chatting a little bit more about. So just a little incentive to have you guys come back so I can see you guys again. So I just wanted to show you this, Mary Abby, and I've been very, very excited about it. And our wonderful director has been able to find the funding to supply it for us. So we were really, really happy today to see all that. I took you guys a little bit over the time. I'm really, really sorry. And I'm very appreciative of your time. And thank you so much. And remember that we're always here for you. And when we can get to visit, we will. But in the meantime, if there's anything that we can help you with, whether it be Zoom, over the phone, please call us and let us help you out. But if you guys want to take a few minutes, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them now. I wore you all out.
Gloria, is the next week's session, is that the discovery section or is that something else?
Yes.
Excellent. I'm super excited to hear about this phone. I think I know a lot of people who are going to really be into that.
I know. I saw a couple of them and they're relatively inexpensive. I will tell you some of my concern just briefly is for those people that don't know this, the Panasonic, so this is just the landline cordless phone that many of us are used to. That's what I'm holding in my hand.
Oh.
For those of you that may or may not know this, Panasonic, if you purchase a Panasonic phone, they have the caller ID speaking mechanism built right into it. So we never have to purchase that through our third party people, okay? We automatically get that when we get the phone. That's what Panasonic does for us. Many of the other phones don't have that capabilities. So I'm concerned about how the caller ID is going to be on this. It's a Motorola. I don't know if they have that speaking caller ID function. And as all of us know, that's really kind of important to our population. So not to, end on a bad note, because I think with many of the features this has, like I said, if it's $50, $60 and it has the Alexa and you have the phone built right in, that may be the answer for many of our peeps. So just remember, you guys, you do have, for those of you that have smartphones, and as Angie said, we have the Alexa app right on our phone. So you have another smart assistant built right in to your phone if you need it. And you also have a way of being able to access it on your phone to be able to add contacts or be able to ask it information at any time.
Can I add one more thing, Gloria, before everyone goes?
So, yeah, please.
So this is something we just found out, so it's kind of new to us. But if you're familiar with the Jitterbug phones, they have new Jitterbug phones that have Alexa built into it. So when you flip open the phone, it actually you can say, Alexa, what's the weather, etc., just like we talked about today. But it's built into your Jitterbug cell phone. So it cannot you can't say, Alexa, call Joanne. You can't do that. You have to use the Jitterbug functions for that. But it does allow you to have some form of control over like setting up a calendar, et cetera, et cetera.
Mary, is that with the Flip or is that
Yes.
specifically with the Jitter? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they changed, they call it Lively.
I'm just wondering, so I'm pretty sure those Jitterbug flip
Yeah.
phones can receive text messages. So would you not be able to set it up using that mobile number so that your Echo device can make a phone call using your cell phone number?
You cannot. She says specifically that she's not allowed to make phone calls because I think they must disable that so that you're using minutes and, obviously you're paying for minutes. So, but.
Oh, you're so smart.
Some days. but yeah, so there are some things that they disable just so that you use their Jitterbug features. But it does give you access to a personal assistant that way as well.
Cool.
I think they realized that after the many phone calls they were getting for things like, can you add this person to my contact and all this kind of other stuff. So, but anyway, it's called the Lively. We've been trying to get our hands on it. So we'll keep you guys in the loop as if the more information that comes to us, we'll keep you guys in the loop. So I think that's about it for what we have today. I hope that this met your expectations. And again, it was really great to see everybody again. And however we can help, give us a call. Hope to see you guys next week.
Oh, thanks so much. You guys are great.
Thanks, Barbara, for coming.
Oh, thank you, Barbara.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
And thank
Bye.
you both, Molly
next
and
week.
Mary. Yeah, we appreciate everything. Thank you, Miranda.
Anytime.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. You guys are awesome.
Bye-bye.
Bye.